Hi, everybody. It's Kim West, the Sleep Lady. And on this episode of the Gentle Parenting Show, I want to talk about potty training. And I want to introduce you to my friends and colleagues, Brandi Jordan and Alexis Granelli. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the background of how it is that we came to be here together in this moment. So, you all know me as the Sleep Lady, which I have been for 28 years now. And I created a gentle sleep training method to help our children go to sleep, stay asleep, take great naps without leaving them to cry it out alone. And so, over the years, of course, I would work with families and help their children improve their sleep. And they would ask me other parenting questions. How about temper tantrums? How do I handle some of their behavior during the day outside of sleep? And how about can you help us with potty training? Because you transformed our lives with sleep. We loved your gentle approach. What about potty training? And they often ask me, would I be the potty lady? And I always politely declined and said, but let me go see if I can find somebody who's willing to be the potty lady, or perhaps somebody who already is the potty lady. And I looked around and I looked around, and it was hard. I really couldn't find anybody with a gentle approach. And then the one person I did find really just did not have the interest in handling the sheer number of parents that I was going to send to her. So I sort of put it aside and continued to politely say, no, not at this time. And then I started in 12 years ago now to train people to be gentle sleep coaches. So, using my gentle approach with sleep, I started training people to do this all over the world. And as more and more of those coaches started to build their practices in all corners of the world, they started to come to me. And because they were getting the same requests from their families that I was getting, their families were saying, loved that you helped us with sleep. Now, what about potty training? Can you help us with potty training? Can you help us with other aspects of parenting? And it was Alexis, one of my gentle sleep coaches, who is also certified in positive discipline, who was really the first one of my gentle sleep coaches to say, Kim, please, will you train me on how to be what we're now calling a gentle potty coach? And I also politely declined Alexis until she told me her story of going and trying to potty train her own daughter and getting trained by another program where we learned the some of the incorrect and not evidence-based research and advice that was giving. So maybe Alexis, you could chime in and tell your story, and then we'll connect this all together with Brandi.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today. And I think I said pretty please. I think there was much begging that occurred before you accepted to do this and to create this program. And I think, like many parents out there today, maybe it was during the pandemic, and I decided that would be a great time to potty train. And without a lot of preparation or having read some of the most popular books, I sort of dove in with my daughter, who is one of those strong-willed, has a temperament that I did not take into consideration, and doing a boot camp style potty training weekend with her was pretty disastrous. She cried, I cried. It was a pretty tough moment. And so I just started looking for something else, and there was no one else that was willing to meet me where I was, that I felt like was willing to say, okay, your daughter's not the cookie cutter, easy peasy situation that's going to fit into this sort of boot camp style. And there was no gentle approach.
Mhm.
So it was with a lot of pleading, because I know that you, Kim, and Brandi, who's going to be here with a minute, are not only specialized in sleep, but in creating connections between parents and children. And I felt like that's what it had been lost. This very exciting milestone had become this big power struggle. And I was really lost as to a strategy. And I know that if I lived through it, there was definitely other parents living through that as well. So I'm thrilled to be here today.
Mm-hmm. And so, again, even then, though, when you told me that story, I still said, no, thank you.
You did. I had to pull out all the research and saying, but someone told me that there were going to be a couple of things that were, and you said, I can't accept hearing things that are medically inaccurate being taught to parents, and feeling very scared as a parent that I was going to somehow damage my child if I didn't do
Mm-hmm.
certain things,
Mm-hmm.
or there was something wrong with my child if in 3 days she wasn't
Mm-hmm.
potty trained. um,
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was really sort of my wake up call, as it was in sleep too, was feeling like parents were not being given good quality advice. That sort of got me a little riled up. And that's what happened with this between Alexis and I. She said, well, Kim, one of the experts out there is saying that you have to night train your child at night
mhm.
or there would be physical damage to their body. And I was like, that's a really strong statement. It's not at all what I had ever heard or learned. And so I went to my friends who are pediatricians, who are also, one in particular is an expert in enuresis and staying dry at night, has several books, and very popular books on the topic. And he said that is inaccurate. And so that is when I said, okay, I'm worried about parents receiving this information and being stressed out about it because they're like, oh no, what will happen if I don't do that? Just like parents hear that if you don't sleep train your newborn, they'll never sleep. Right? Another one of those pieces of advice that aren't founded in research. So I said, okay, that's it. I don't want parents feeling stressed out about things that are inaccurate and feeling like they have to pressure their child into something that their child is physically not ready to do, i.e., staying dry at night. And so I knew that, my plate was full and I wanted to have a partner with me this time around to create a gentle approach, because with my sleep, I did it on my own and it's a much longer journey. And so I went to my colleague, Brandi Jordan, who is a fellow social worker like I am, also a doula and IBCLC, and had gone through my gentle sleep coach program and is a faculty teacher of the 0 to 5 month program. So I knew that we were like minded and that she also had a background in child development. And so I said, Brandi, would you be interested in doing this with me?
And I said, yes, maybe, then yes. Yeah, I think just like Alexis, and so many other coaches, we get so many people who kind of see us as a trusted resource when it comes to all
Mhm,
things, children, particularly what's happening in the 0 to 5 age range. And because I have the background in child development, I've had so many clients over the years who had asked me about potty training, and people who I even kind of just like gave them support and support around it and resources because I had the background in working with children at that age. But it wasn't something that we had, created a full on program for. I was kind of just helping clients who I kind of already had a relationship with. And so when you
mhm,
came to me with this idea of like, can we like actually create something that kind of fills the holes for what's missing out there, which is something that's
yeah,
gentle, something that is child and family centered and not cookie
mhm,
cutter. Because I think one of the
yeah,
major things that I had
mhm,
difficulty with, even the books that I was recommending to clients or the resources that I knew to kind of be my go to, was that there wasn't a lot of room to adapt to different cultures, to adapt to different ages and stages. It kind of was this idea, in my opinion, very Eurocentric way of looking at what potty training should look like. And it was missing this huge array of like the vast amount of culture that we see in parenting and where people come from and how that affects what they decide to do with their children, even when it comes to things like potty training. And so it was exciting for
mhm,
us to kind of come up with something that had the gentle piece, had the cultural piece, and also had this idea that we could do different things at different ages and stages that were all developmentally appropriate, and also
Mhm.
set up the family not to have this doom and gloom. Because we talk about potty training to parents,
Well,
they're like expecting, like, doom and gloom, hurricane, apocalypse for a weekend. And we
right.
were thinking, how could we make it so that people aren't experiencing potty training in that way? And I think what we
Mhm.
created does that.
Mhm. Absolutely, and factors in various approaches and the
Mm-hmm.
temperament of the child and the parent, not shaming. We really
Mm-hmm.
had to come together in our discussions to think about what was important, what were the holes out there that needed to be filled, and what did we also, as family therapists, think was important to include.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
think that's so important that you said the not shaming, because even just
Mhm.
the other day, a mom said, I've been giving my child M&Ms every time they're going pee or every time they're going poop, and now I have a child that is only pooping or peeing, and I'm up to a bag of M&Ms a day, and also to say, actually, we can intrinsically motivate children to
Mhm.
accomplish new things together without having to resort to punishments, right? The horrible
Mhm.
thing of sit on the potty until you pee or till you poop, that
Right.
sort of, or a lot of bribes, which I think in the end of the day, in a lot of circumstances, doesn't end up very well either. So
Mhm.
that's sort of, I think, a really exciting thing also, that we're not going to go down the punishment or the bribe road with parents either.
Yeah. And I think also, like sleep, this doesn't mean that if you are planning to or have successfully used a boot camp approach, that there's something intrinsically wrong, that
Mm-hmm.
you've damaged your child.
Mhm.
We just want, just like how I started with sleep, I just want parents to have choices. I want
Mhm.
them to be able to pick the right match for their family philosophies and values, and the right match for their child's temperament, and their own temperament, and what they can follow through with consistently. And I'm really proud of what we have created together. And I really feel like that we give parents all of those things in the
Yeah, I was going
Gentle
to say that
Potty Coach.
I think what parents are missing is the education piece
Mhm.
on how different decisions that we make from 0 to 6 months, 6 to 9, 9 to 12 can impact what that potty training experience looks like. And I think that's what was missing. This idea that,
Mhm.
like, my oldest is 15 and my youngest is 5. This idea, like when my 15-year-old, that you start the day they turn 2, and that was just the way that you did it. And there's so much that we've learned about ages and stages from a more global perspective, that there are
Mhm.
things that parents can be doing at a much earlier stage. And it's not because you're trying to like win the earliest potty training award. It's more about how can you create that normalcy for them, so that it doesn't become a scary experience whenever your child is ready to begin the potty training
Mhm.
experience. And I think that's what we have added to what's out there.
Mhm. I love that. Thank you. Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, first of all, for Alexis for prodding me along in this, and Brandi for joining me in this mission. And now the three of us, because we forgot to say that what happened was when Brandi and I created the Gentle Potty coaching approach, intuitive learning method, we're calling it also, is we then created a certification, and Alexis was one of our first coaches, and she just took off and ran, and has helped probably hundreds of families by now, and has become part of our faculty, and will be the main teacher in this parenting course that we will be providing to everyone.
So excited and honored. Love doing this work. Just maybe from my own personal experience, just thrilled to bring this to parents, because I really do know that they will have not the apocalyptic experience that, again, Brandy was saying, which is so true. It's like potty training. No one goes, yay. Everyone goes, oh God. And I think to be able to change the feeling about that, being like, I got this. We got this. It could be even fun. Who knows? It could be fun, right? I
Right.
promise. So I'm thrilled, and I look forward to meeting lots more parents.
Yes. Thank you, both of you. And thank you, listeners. So if you want to learn more about the Gentle Potty course, you can go to sleeplady.com. You can go to also look at this show notes for this page, and of course, download our myth busting potty training guide. Thank you.